My name is Ramsey Jorgensen, and my speech is over why college athletes should not be paid. In Divisions 1 and 2 sports in the NCAA, $2 billion is given out in scholarships annually, according to NCAA.org. And that's not to mention all the walk-ons that receive academic scholarships, or the athletes in the NAIA. If college athletes were paid for play, it would bring an end to college sports altogether. It would just be another form of professional sports. In today's sports, with athletes leaving college early to go pro, college is becoming less and less about education and more about a presentation of skills. What happens to all these athletes when they retire and they don't have any formal education? Professional athletes are never taught the value of money. According to an article on sportsillustrated.cnn.com, 78% of all NFL players file for bankruptcy only 2 years after retiring. They don't have any education, so when they're done playing, they have nothing. They can't get a job. Paying college athletes will give them a taste of what they get in the professionals. Many think it will give them an incentive to stay longer because they won't need to leave as soon for the money. I think it will just make them want more money faster. College athletes should not be paid because of scholarships, legal gifts, and unfair advantages. Scholarships given to athletes today pay for tuition, fees, room, board, and textbooks, according to Molly Block of the University Star at Texas State University. Tuition prices have been skyrocketing since the 80s. Just since 2003, tuition prices have risen 79.5%, according to Danielle Kurtzleben on usnews.com, which is represented on this graph. In the last 10 years, college tuition has risen more than any other aspect in the United States. Just this year, prices rose 2.9% from the year before. While this is less than the 4.5% increase from 2012 and 8.9% just before that, tuition is rising, making it increasingly difficult for the average American family to pay for college. Tuition isn't the only aspect of college that is becoming increasingly more expensive. According to scholarships.com, room and board prices have been growing steadily over the years, ranging from $7,500 to $9,000. On-campus living is required at most colleges for all freshmen, and some colleges even require sophomores. Both tuition and room and board have been increasing in price every year since 2000. But nothing compares to the rapid growth in the prices of textbooks. On average, a student will spend nearly $1,200 on textbooks per year. Prices for books has increased over 4 times faster than the rate of inflation over the past 2 decades, according to studentprigs.org. All of these aspects of college are becoming more and more expensive and harder for the average American family to afford. My point here is that none of these students are asking to get paid to attend college. Why should someone who can run fast or throw a ball deserve any special treatment? They already get everything paid for. They don't have to worry about a meal plan, having a place to stay, and some even have a job waiting for them whenever they feel like it if they want to go pro. College athletes don't have to worry about how to accommodate for all these rising prices. They come to college with everything paid for, while the average person will leave college with a stack of letters from a student loan agency asking when they'll get their money back. Even if an athlete isn't good enough to go pro, they will have a job waiting for them upon completion of their degree, from connections to all kinds of people that a non-athlete can only dream of, according to Paul Doherty of Sports Illustrated. College athletes already have a large advantage over everyone else because of scholarships. But if that doesn't convince you, maybe this will. College athletes receive legal gifts from both the school and the NCAA already. One friend of mine from back home came to UNL to high jump at track. He jumped 7 feet in high school and set a new school record. Naturally, they gave him a scholarship, but that's not all they gave him. Upon his commitment, he received t-shirts, sweats, shoes, socks, travel bags, and much more. Nebraska is sponsored by Adidas, so they had to make sure that all of his workout clothes were Adidas and not another brand. That's their reason for giving him all of these gifts. But what's their reason for giving him a free tutor? If I were to fail a class or a test, that's the end of it. Better luck next time. I don't get someone specialized in all of my classes to help me with everything. I understand that there are resource centers made for everyone to go get help. But that's not one-on-one study time with someone that will, in his words, practically give him the answer. What about stipends? College athletes already get paid. They receive stipends for everything they do. At the beginning of the season, my friend received $700 from the NCAA. It doesn't seem like much, but I would love for someone to give me $700. That's not all, though. For every track meet that he has that's not in Lincoln, he receives another $200. The NCAA claims it's for food and other things that the athlete may need while they're not in their hometown or the town of their college. Who needs $200 for food for 2 days? They don't give the money back that they don't spend, of course, they keep it. College athletes don't need paid more than they already are. If this hasn't convinced you yet, think about the unfair advantages, not for the athletes, but for the schools. Every athlete is going to be wanting to pay the big bucks, but not every college is going to be able to afford to pay that. According to StatisticBrain.com, each team that makes the BCS National Championship receives $18 million to be split among the teams of that conference. In the last 8 years, 16 teams from the SEC, Southeastern Conference, have made a BCS bowl game, with at least one in the championship every year and 2 in the national championship game in 2012. The colleges in this conference are making millions of dollars every year because of their dominance. Obviously, they'll be able to pay their athletes much better than the average school. Each team in the SEC has an unfair advantage over the other teams because no other conference makes anywhere near the amount of money that the SEC does. To narrow it down further, Alabama has the most unfair advantage. The team that makes the bowl game gets a larger proportion of the money that is split amongst the conference of the team that makes the BCS National Championship or any BCS bowl. Alabama has been in a BCS bowl game 5 of the last 6 years, and the national championship game 3 times in those 6 years. Alabama makes millions of dollars each year on these games and will in return be able to pay their athletes much better than a team like Nebraska. Nebraska has only made 2 BCS games in 2000 and 2002. Only 51 teams have played in the 72 BCS games in the BCS history. That leaves over 80 schools to have never made it to a BCS game. Each school that made it to a BCS game brought in at least $3 million this year. Of course, a counter-argument to this would be the best players wouldn't want to go to a team that can't make these games anyway. While this may be true, if you take the money out of the equation, it helps level the field for the smaller or less successful schools to beat the big ones. In conclusion, college athletes shouldn't be paid because of unfair advantages for bigger conference and bigger schools, the legal gifts they already receive, and the scholarships that they receive. Athletes get the easy way out. They aren't forced to deal with finding a job or dealing with debt right after college. Many athletes have the option to further their sports careers after college in professional leagues, not using the degree that was paid for. And that's assuming they even stayed long enough to get a degree in today's one-and-done era. Students from all walks of life struggle with not having extra money during college. Why should athletes, the most celebrated people on campus, receive any further help?